Oh, goddamn poison ivy is literally everywhere. I mean, it was everywhere last year also, but it's not even summer yet, and I think it's even in more places than it was a year ago. What made me notice it, what prompted me to notice it, was I actually burned myself on some nettle the other day, and felt it almost immediately, but it kind of felt like a scratch at first. And funny enough, it looks like a scratch, but like there's no way I scratched myself like that on something. And even if it was, it wouldn't really feel the same way. Anyway, yeah. Like this is poison ivy, for example. And it's like literally everywhere. There's a tree on the front yard, and around it is like a giant bush area. And like most of that bush is now, everything that peeks through to the surface, it's just poison ivy. That's all poison ivy. Literally, it's gonna be nothing but poison ivy, and probably next year, if not even this one. Fun thing. And like, I'm not sure what to do with it. What do I fucking like use flamethrower on it or something? You know, I cannot really surgically remove it. That would be quite a project. Well, anyway, I'm not sure if dogs are as allergic to poison ivy as humans are supposed to be, because it's like it's the same like toxin, I think, as nettle, really. But I think the reason humans get that reaction is because humans are essentially allergic to it. But this little thing like goes everywhere, and last year it used to also. I'm now wondering if some of the redness he has on his belly in the summer months, well, I'm pretty sure it's black flies mostly, but now I'm wondering if it could be nettle or poison ivy. I need to Google if dogs have the same reaction to nettle and poison ivy as humans do. Clearly, he never seems to be bothered by any of that stuff. But some redness on his belly in the summer months does not necessarily look like bites. It kind of it has kind of like streaky nature. So okay, 3 minutes in, I think all the multi-streams kicked in. I have no idea why, but why am I waiting for all the multi-streams to kick in? I don't know. Well, actually, I do know now, and I'd like to address it. Okay. Yeah, let's start with something I'm very grateful for, which happened almost immediately upon the ending of my last stream. An OG member of audience member from the days of yore, you could say, contacted me in response to the direct question that I asked, which, like, honestly, it's like super cool. Thank you, because I rarely get any interaction at all on my streams. And yeah, so basically regarding, you know, the never get up type of answer that I was graced with, really. Can you tell that this is America by any chance? I wonder if something may be pointing at it. Yeah. Hey, well, thanks for encouragement. It's actually quite something. Quite a few things in my life have been rather demotivating in the last like 10 years. I would say there's been a lot of demotivating things. And not just kind of like sad or depressing, but legitimately kind of like, why do I even bother? And I should probably ask myself the question, even when I do stuff like this. But Like, honestly, this I'm doing more because there's just like kind of like nothing else to do. Like, there's only so many podcasts you can listen to. Believe it or not, most of them are pretty terrible. I am even considering going back to some of the podcasts that I dropped like 10 years ago, and just kind of like starting listening to those again. Because I don't know, I think I dropped Super Best Friend Cast somewhere around episode 100-ish, I would say. I think I at one point kind of like skipped a few episodes, and then I tried to getting back into it, and it was just like not how it used to be. And then, you know, how goddamn long ago was it? 6-7 years ago, when Super Best Friends fell apart. Finally, my feelings. Well, first of all, not a huge fan of them falling apart, because I honestly think that even at their worst, they were kind of better when they were doing things together as a unit. Because like Castle Super Beast is just such a bore fest. You can clearly tell that neither Wooly nor Pat, periodically, there's only one of them who's like literally dying, you know, live, but mostly it's both of them. Like very, very... Heini, come on already. I cannot see what you're doing there. Ah, licking your lips, huh? Okay, must have been a big piece of shit there. Well, it's very obvious that neither of them want to be doing this. That, like, both Pat and Wooly are just completely dead inside. And, like, also it is very clear that neither of them kinda... let's get semi-political for a second. Both of them are kind of like early millennials, so I suppose both of them are about 40-ish right now, maybe even like 41, 42, something like that. So they were born at the time when basically all the millennials who are kind of like 39, 40-ish right now, they pretty much are all liberals. Like that particular generation, part of my generation, was just, we just kind of like grew up where it was like totally not cool, right? To not be liberal. Of course, everyone's progressive, you know, it's okay to be whatever, it's okay to do whatever, you know, freedom of expression, freedom of like any kind of choice. And all that is great. Freedom is awesome. Yeah, but the problem is that in pop culture, right, politics recently created the problem of, progressive people in pop culture who tend to be, obviously, left-leaning politically. They don't really have any resemblance of taste because they are driven by ideology. And like I said in my pretty old stream at this point, I totally get why so many people want to be degenerates and why it is so important for them, you know, to kind of like, hey, look at me, I am such and such kin, and my hair is purple, ooh. I get it, because when I was 15 years old, everyone was like an emo or a punk or a goth, you know? So this is just your way of being a punk. I get it. You're taking it a bit too extreme, in my opinion, because, like, you know, like self-mutilation and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you know, people of my generation, we were like cutting ourselves and do piercings, but not a lot of us, you know, actually like chopped, you know, pieces of our bodies. Yeah, but the problem is that all of that stuff is just like, for me, an old fart, all of it is in a pretty fucking poor taste. So let's go back the chain of the whole thing. Pat and Wooly, neither Pat nor Wooly are either equipped or willing to become equipped of addressing the problem of poor taste in modern video games that stems from the political ideology. And it is very obvious every time they talk about some game that is legitimately held back, either by, poorly, well, something, either writing or art style, something to do with some kind of like modern, popularization of ideological degeneracy. And like back in the day, we could say, hey, that dude, I like that dude's music, but he poses himself as some kind of goth kid, and dude, that's just fucking cringe. Like, I cannot take it, And because it was not political, right? But now, if you were to offer the same criticism to, towards somebody who's, doing something of poor taste, no, they have political shields, so you cannot even talk about that, right? And so we have people like myself who basically say, guys, like, it's okay, but like, you suck. I'm sorry. This fucking sucks. Like, I get it. I appreciate your passion, but like, I'm not 15 years anymore, right? So I do not like, first of all, and second, I don't have time for this shit, Again, I'm not 15 anymore, so I get it, but none of that will touch my heart. And also, I don't have time to be listening to you any longer. I gave you 5 seconds. You already let me know that all you have is just like regurgitated. You're just regurgitating someone else's opinion that you adopted. Okay, I get it. Cool. I don't have any more time to give you, for that shit. Okay, bye. All right. And unfortunately, come on, let's go back. We haven't even been here for 10 minutes. Neither Pat nor Willie are equipped to be talking about stuff like that. You can literally hear them dancing in their heads around certain things they wish to say, but they cannot, because they were raised as liberal millennials who, like, we need to be like self-censoring. We need to be very careful not to say anything that can even remotely come off as sexist, as whatever, blah blah phobic. We need to be very, very careful not to say anything like that. And I remember being like that when I was like 15 or even 20. Even before all of this, like modern political degeneracy stuff of the left. Because it's kind of like, it's not cool to even joke around, like women in the kitchen. It's really not cool, you guys. And like once you grow up, though, you realize that, well, there's such a thing as a joke, first of all. Somebody cannot take it. It's not because the joke was too cruel. It's because you shouldn't be associated with that person who cannot take one, in the first place. So that's kind of like thing number one. Thing number two is, unfortunately, the language of there's such a thing that you cannot say, such a thing that you cannot joke about, such a yada yada you cannot blah blah blah. That's not the type of language of the people I personally want to associate with. Those types of that type of approach, just to life in general, is part of a certain kit of part of a certain movement, so to speak, that, like, honestly, nothing good will come out of it. At least for people like myself. If I was like, I'm not in any kind of protected group. I'm not a part of a marginalized part of whatever society. I'm not anything like that. So like, there's absolutely no point for me to be playing, that like linguistic game. Yeah, and it's very sad, essentially what kind of like Wooly and Pat had degraded into, because it's Like, they cannot talk about what's currently happening in gaming. And it's not like it's worth talking about what's currently happening in gaming, but that's what they do because, you know, they gotta pay their bills somehow. And Matt, I really like what Matt is doing. The problem is that what Matt is doing is just, like, not for me. I'm not interested in these. I mean, props, really, really big props for at least basically keeping it within 20 minutes. But I am neither interested in like 3-hour-long videos, you know, of like Joseph Anderson or whoever the fuck else, just like doing this to their own voice for literally 3 hours, or 4 or 5, you know, talking about like The Witcher 3. Guys, The Witcher 3, okay? You can talk about The Witcher 3 with a friend for 3 hours, maybe. You cannot fucking write a book that will take 3 hours to read, you know, out loud about The Witcher 3. Like, let's not analyze what, like, walking animation of Geralt means, you know, in the world of fucking post-scarcity, you know, or something. Let's not go into that territory. I'm not particularly interested, you know, in people waxing philosophical on, like, ooh, you know, Hexen, the best game ever. Let me tell you about that, Zoomer, because I bet you never heard about that game. Oh, fucking hell, me. Well, go then. Don't stand in literal poison ivy. And I'm not particularly interested in that, like, almost kind of like TikTok format, like burst videos about, remember kids, there was this game, like, I don't know, what kind of game, Matt, Matt is a really nice guy. I really respect his content. It's just not for me. Like, I'm not interested in somebody talking to me as if I don't know what video games are. Guys, I'm gonna tell you about the most amazing game ever, the craziest game you could just imagine. God hand, guys, you have no idea what kind of game that was. I'm gonna tell you all about it. I'm like, okay, dude, I get it, you know. I would sit down and talk, right, about God hand. I'm not interested in, like, listening for 30 minutes, you know, to some guy explaining to me how cool God Hand is. You know, I'm, like, I don't need to be sold on things that I like already. I see what you tried to do. Oh, well, it's definitely not doing any of that. So, circling back, basically, yeah, I might as well do something like this myself sometimes, instead of listening to a podcast while I walk the doggo. Because, like, music, sometimes there's something I just, like, emergency type of situation. I just need to listen to something. Either, like, something, like a new track came out from somebody I follow or whatever. Yeah, sure. I will do it on the go. But typically, especially in kind of like a forest type of situation, I don't really like listening to music. I don't like listening to music with one ear and with both ears. Yeah, when you kind of like in the forest, pretty much, I don't know, it's very uncomfortable to just not have your hearing, right, as one of your senses, reading your surroundings. And there are only so many podcasts that you can, like, realistically find, or videos that you can find that you could listen to that, like, realistically don't suck. Unfortunately, we no longer live in the times of, like, Total Biscuit or, like, I don't know, maybe even Spoonie. You know, somebody who could honestly and with passion just talk about any random stuff, and it was kind of just like interesting listening to it. And even when, like, Total Biscuit would talk about some, like, obscure, you know, basically graphic settings, of some obscure PC game nobody cares about. Well, he at least cared about what he did, and it was one way of kind of like staying in touch with what was happening in the industry. Now, the only way to like stay in touch with what's happening in the industry is to follow someone like ACG, or like that Aussie dude, Skill Up. Sorry, I apologize for the acting, but like, Jesus Christ. Like the ShillTube, the pretend, self-made IGN YouTubers. Quote unquote self-made, no, not interested, following those people. Who else can you follow? Like Worthaby. I love Mac. His opinions are very often complete fucking shite, and not because his tastes are shite. It's just that he lets himself kind of, I think he just like he works too much on way too many like different video games, and the fact that his job is literally not as much reviewing games as giving his opinion on various games, he basically ends up kind of like confused, I think, in the maze of his own opinions, because he would bash one game for the same things he would praise, like the same game, like another game the same week. I think Alan Wake 2, was the first time I really noticed it. Because I was kind of like, I watched. I mean, I understand that he didn't like the game. Nobody liked Alan Wake 2, okay? Nobody. Other than the normies who couldn't even understand what they were doing anyway. They were just told to like Alan Wake 2, and they were like, oh, Alan Wake 2, I was told to like it. It's so good. Okay, cool. Obviously, Worthaby didn't like it because no one did. But some of the things he said about the game for like why it sucks, quote unquote, were things that he praised in his Alan Wake 1 review. I believe. It may have been a different game I'm thinking about. But that happened numerous times. Either like twice or maybe even thrice it happened that Worthaby basically shat on the game for reasons he actually loved a different game for. And you might say, context matters. No, dude, like if you legitimately compare his takes on one thing and then the other thing that contradicts his kind of like tastes and standards, no, context is there. It's like legit in context. Doesn't make sense. So I don't even understand what what Mac likes or doesn't like. I think he used to be funny as fuck. But recently he started to cover so much just like random, like sub single A indie slop from Steam. And I understand why he does it. He basically does it to say fuck you to the AAA and quadruple A industry. Basically, he does it to tell the world and the industry at large, like, hey, look how many games we have, and some of them are actually pretty alright. Yeah, I get it. I get that some of them are pretty alright, but a lot of them are so niche-y, and just like, what the fuck is this even? Like, I'm sorry, but there needs to be, like, Mac is one person, you know. I would rather him do like one video a week actually talking about a video game he cares instead of him doing like 4 or 5 videos a week about video games he played for 2 hours, he didn't understand, didn't care about, and ultimately no one does. So I think he completely burned himself out on that. And like, when you do so much content, like, realistically, how funny can you be? Because how much time, like, again, realistically, do you have, you know, to write and edit your videos? But until about a year ago, probably even less than a year ago, before he like fully transitioned into, I'm gonna cover everything on Steam, before he transitioned to that, like, I think Mac was funny as fuck. Well, yeah, so basically I kind of like grew out of everything I even remotely liked on YouTube or in the podcasting sphere. Because like, modern podcasting sphere, dude, is just, again, there are a few Japanese podcasts I like listening to periodically, but even there, just the degree of pretentiousness and kind of like this like pseudo, like, people are either completely overselling themselves as comedians, you know, like with fake laughing, with like constant, you know, quips and jokes and quirks or whatever, or people just try to be kind of like pseudo-intellectual, you know, like Sam Harris's podcast type of cadence. You know, somebody like an inch away from the microphone talking to you very softly about like fucking Apple releasing a new iPhone, you know, or something like that. Who cares? First of all. Second, why do you hear like we're about to have like a telephone sex? I don't get it. The same way I don't understand why anyone fucking listens to Sam Harris, but for reasons way beyond his voice alone. Boo, let's do another one. No. Let's not stand in place. Come on, let's go. Yep. Ooh, come on. Fuck. No, boo, but there. Literal flies. No, not going. Come here. Literal flies all over you. Don't stand in one place. Let's go. Alrighty. So yeah, not going to dox, of course, anyone who contacts me privately, especially. But yeah, I already replied in the personal communication methods, and yeah, once again, I'm sorry if anyone ever tries to contact me through like a Kick chat, for example. Ooh, squirrel. Ooh, ticka. But yeah, I do not have Kick chat because Kick chat just does not work on mobile. Now, there is no such thing as streaming on Kick, like through mobile at all. In fact, you need to do like through a third party, like mobile OBS type of thing, and it cannot have comments or chat or whatever. Anyway, but I should see comments coming from either Twitch or YouTube. I believe. I think both of them should work, yeah. Anyway. So, yeah. Thank you so much for encouragement. And I do realize that nothing is really stopping me from legit, like, trying to do... Not trying. There is no try, right? Do or do not. From doing a podcast type of thing. And I had major plans, actually, regarding all that stuff. It's just that there's so little discoverability recently. All of my latest attempts, and the latest one, by the way, wasn't even all that long ago. All of my attempts to be kind of like a regular type streamer anymore do not return even remotely to the kind of results which were already very underwhelming. Sheesh, like 8 to 7 years ago, right? Like if you were a full-time streamer, all kinds of niches were already taken, really. But there was some results, right? Today, the results are even worse of doing that. Like you can legit stream like a maniac, because it definitely feels like you're going insane. Anyone who tried it would 100% agree that it legitimately feels like you're losing your mind. You can try streaming right now, anything. And it is possible that you will get a few viewers occasionally, but there will be absolutely no growth. You will do one stream and like, I don't know, maybe a few people will watch it. You will then get 0 viewers your next 3 streams. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes you stream for 2 hours, sometimes you stream for 6 hours, you know, and it doesn't matter, you know. Either you get 1 viewer or 2, 1 follower or 0 per stream. Now, when you do multiple streams and you get 0 followers, all right, like you cannot keep doing it, right? Because there's literally no growth. And when you do it and you actually try to be the kind of person people would want to follow, or people would want to stick around and listen to, you know, what you have to say, it's like talking to yourself for 6 hours straight. It's not sustainable. It was a little bit more sustainable almost 10 years ago, when there was at least some potential audience funneled to you through various discoverability features on streaming platforms. Now they no longer work, you know. The only type of traffic, first of all, like Kick or something, already have all kinds of possible niches that people do not necessarily leave. And Twitch is the same way, and YouTube doesn't have any discoverability at all. This is why I now stream vertically, because I think when you stream vertically, your stream can actually legitimately randomly gets suggested to people scrolling through like shorts, reels. What? Regarding Kick and Kick suggestion and Rumbler suggestion, yeah, dude, I totally agree with you. I myself, for streaming, both consumption and output, I do enjoy Kick much more. Rumbler, I don't really care about Rumbler much, because it's quite literally just for political content, and I'm not a political influencer, and no political side would take me, because I am a biological enemy for one side, and for the other side I am a filthy immigrant, you know, and you know, not a real American. So Kick, though, yeah, absolutely, I enjoy Kick much more. Bubba, let's go here once more. That's gonna be our last loop. Yeah, I do enjoy Kick much more for both output and input, although I no longer really watch anyone on Kick. Like Kino Casino was the only show I really watched, and I would probably even keep watching, although I'm not really all that interested in the lolcow culture. It's like the whole lolcow culture is really, it's a bit of a yesteryear type of problem, in my opinion, honestly. Really, the only reason I think Kino Casino like manages to hold to any degree of popularity, I think, is just the fact that PPP is occasionally fucking hilarious. Like, that's, I think, the reason. Yeah, but I myself no longer really watch it because of a very weird, snaky accident I had personally with Worski. I honestly have no idea what happened. Long story short, He mentioned, he's been mentioning for like a couple of weeks on his stream that he wants to make not one but multiple games. So I told him, well, dude, I have experience of making not one but multiple games, and I can also do music for all of them. I'm pretty much kind of like, everything in one package, really. Because usually, even if you get somebody who can, maybe do a little bit of modeling, a little bit of programming, like, okay, cool, well, you still cannot make original music. Like, most, even solo developers with all kinds of skills for development, most of them are not also skilled musicians, because that's the type of skill you cannot really learn in a couple of weeks or even months, mostly, usually, while you can learn a little bit of 3D modeling and a little bit of programming and learn how to use like video game engines rather quickly. Well, anyway, so he basically said, yeah, dude, wow, super cool, absolutely, let's do it. And we didn't do anything for about either 2 or 3 months, I believe. And I barely even said anything during that time. All that was happening was that Worski was periodically messaging me, DMing me on Discord, saying, sorry, dude, yada yada, been super busy, doing like post streams for 6 hours almost every other day for like 50 viewers who don't donate at all, but absolutely had to be doing those, been super busy with them, so no time to talk, like literally cannot find 30 minutes to an hour to talk to you about what exactly needs to be happening. Like, I eventually, once it become like legitimately multiple months, like I could have probably even had something playable for him at that point. I messaged him myself and said, well, dude, like what's up, right? Well, he did not reply. And I think that's why it happened. That's how it escalated to 3 months. So I waited almost 3 months. It may have been 3 weeks. Sorry, I've waited a month. It may have been 3 weeks, but I think I purposely tried to make it like a full month. As a form of cope, as a form of like defense for me not like double messaging too much, right? I messaged him, right? So he said nothing. 3 weeks later, or maybe even 4, I send a dono. Just kind of like being like, hey, dude, it's me, such and such. Like, didn't want to like double message, whatever, but just kind of like a reminder that I'm still here. Now, the weirdest fucking thing happens, because PPP catches the donation, starts reading it, and as soon as he yells out my name, which he always does when he reads donations, he stops. As if I'm like blacklisted or something. Grant you, like literally nothing happened between me or Worski until then. We didn't really talk about anything else. Nothing. Right? I'm obviously not associated with any of the lol cows or any of the, like, I don't know, who might have been his haters or something like that. Nothing. And yeah, so PPP yells out my name, immediately stops, as if like he realized that I'm somebody who's like blacklisted or something like that. And that's it. Literally stays silent for like 15 seconds. What follows is like 15 seconds of silence. They made fun of like Review Tech USA for being silent on his streams all the time. Suddenly dead air for 15 seconds. I assume they may have been messaging PPP and Worski. And even chat got confused, because somebody in chat even asked, is John Halpert gonna be okay? Worski like smiled into the camera and said, yeah, he's gonna be all right, guys. I couldn't understand what the fuck happened, but the following couple of days, like, Worski didn't contact me back or whatever, so I sent them a donation offline so that it doesn't go on stream. Basically said, hey, to either Worski or PPP, whoever catches it, like, I have like no idea what happened. Like, maybe, I think it was semi-public. It was not semi-public, it was super public, that Worski was working on a video game, and that he even mentioned me. Didn't name drop me, but he did allude to me at least once, that there's like a dev he's talking to these days. So it was kind of like public knowledge, right? That there was a dev with whom Worski was supposed to be making like video games and stuff like that, and it was me, Austin. And yeah, I kind of like said, hey, I'm not sure if maybe you were doing some kind of angle where the whole thing was supposed to be secret suddenly, although it definitely hasn't been until now. So, like, not sure what was wrong with my dono, that you guys kind of like reacted to it weirdly, to say the least. Not sure how else I could say it. Like, not sure what's happening, you know. And grant you, like, me and PPP, zero content ever. Never talked to, even like passively, you know, like responding to each other on social media, never. Again, no reaction. 1 month from then, so like over 3 months, at least potentially even 4 months, since Worski first, for almost 3 months, wrote me basically once a month saying, yeah, dude, totally making this video game. I'm so hyped, dude, I absolutely have to run though, like, because stream. Worski also, I think, never responded to me in chat, like, never. And I believe, really, what happened was that Worski realized that I'm not a huge supporter of his. I have not donated any hundreds of monies to him. And I think his ego was just hurt that there was somebody out there pretty much same age as him. Worski, I may even be a few years older than him, I don't know, or maybe he's like a year or two tops older than me. So somebody who's basically his peer, right? He wouldn't be able to order me around. I'm not some 20-year-old kid. I have not donated any money to him because I don't feel like I need to be paying for his attention, because I'm kind of like his peer, potentially even maybe a bit of a senpai, you know? So I think his ego got hurt that somebody just off the street contacted him, and he just didn't realize it at first. That somebody off the street contacted him, like, no big donations, no big history of donations, no big, like, you know, history of glazing him up in chat, because you can look up the chat history, you know, of people from your chat. You can look up every message from everyone who ever, you know, texted in your chat. And I think his ego got hurt that, yeah, somebody just off the street, no glazing, no big history of donation, like, no nothing. Somebody who's confident, somebody who talks to him like a peer, as in, I'm proposing partnership, not dick sucking. And I think his ego got hurt, and he was just kind of like, well, I cannot, you know, I need to be working with like a 20-year-old kid who I can boss around, all right, who will be working for me for free, essentially. That's my assumption. But anyway, he didn't respond again to my second dono. And from that point, I stopped. 1 month later, I opened my DMs and opened my DMs on Twitter. And I just noticed that, like, literally the last message I've ever sent, I've ever received, actually, was from Worski. Because, like, DMs on Twitter basically no longer work. And yeah, when I was still using Twitter, so that was about 2 or 3 months ago, I opened it, I saw that message from Worski from like 4 months or 3 months ago at that point, right? Like 3 or 4 month old message from Worski, like the last one before we connected on Discord. And I was like, God damn it, what the fuck ever happened? And I, again, like an edgelord that I am, I purely colloquially, because honestly, I don't think that Worski would neither understand any other type of speech nor respect somebody who talks to him with any other kind of speech. I totally edgelordy, totally colloquially, I was kind of like, I did a friendly jab type of thing, which I assumed that the edgelord that is Worski would understand. And it was a short message. It was not like a long, you know, oh, you broke my heart, like a Stan type of message, right? No. I think it was either 2 or 3 sentences. I basically said, hey, dude, still have no idea what the fuck happened. Just wanted to tell you that, you know, you're supposed to be based and whatnot, but ghosting somebody after all but going into like a partnership with, like completely ghosting somebody with whom you were basically in like business type of negotiations, just like ghosting out of the whole thing, that's pretty faggoty, I said. And what do you know? The dude responded like immediately. Fucking immediately, like literally next minute, there is a DM on Twitter from Worski saying, why the fuck do I owe you anything? Meaning attention, I assume, right? Like, why do you think I owe you? Or maybe just, he said, like, I don't owe you anything. And then he added, like speaking of, like, talk about faggotry, get fucked. And he blocked me. Wow. That's a drama queen, that is Andy Worski. That's how he handles drama. Because if you know anything, you never block somebody with whom you have drama, right? You instead let the drama brew and you capitalize on it. But he realized that I don't have any audience or anything like that, right? So, like, why the fuck would he have drama with me? Like, nah, just... Dude just blocked me. After I called him out a little bit. He got offended for a thing somebody like him honestly should have probably even understand that it was a friendly jab. He didn't even feel, again, no explanation, no nothing. Like, it would have been nice if he completely called me out or something he thought I was guilty of, you know? So maybe I could, you know, fix whatever kind of misunderstanding was happening. No. Oh, and you know why he said that, like talk about faggoty. He most likely addressed, because there was one more part of the message. There was another sentence. I basically said, because that's like the only, but that's again, like, Worski is about my age. He's supposed to understand sincerity. It's only Zoomers. Zoomies do not understand sincerity or, like, vulnerability. They see it as cringe. But people slightly older, people over 30, who are in 2025 over 30, should understand the value of honesty, the value of sincerity. And I wasn't really all that vulnerable. I was just honest. And again, honesty is considered cringe by modern people. And I understand that the whole, you know, kind of like lolcow, very Zoomery type of culture might have imprinted, you know, onto Worski at this point. So true. But again,
I would think he'd understand, you know, that part. Well, apparently he didn't, or he did not allow himself to. I said, dude, absolutely no ill will. I literally said that, dude, like, still love you and shit. But after being treated like that, will not be following whatever you're doing. So if you're ever in any kind of project, you like feel free to contact me, but I will not contact you because I will not know what you're up to. And like, that's the part that he was most likely referring to as gay. Right? Yeah. That's me being gay, guys. You know, just honestly wishing the dude well, saying I have no idea what happened, but if this is how I'm getting treated, then adios. Oh no, that's so gay, right? Just like walk away, but letting the guy know that, just FYI, no ill will. Because kind of like ghosting the ghoster in return when we were basically at the table doing business, like it doesn't sound right, right? If you're messaging somebody and they don't message back, then yeah, you can leave it at that. But just the kind of thing, oh, somebody ghosted me and I'm just like not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything further, but I will comment on the fact that, dude, you ghosted me when we were at this stage. Dude, that's fucking lame. So I left it at that. And guess what? He got hurt. Yeah. Yeah, right. He's the victim, right? I'm the abuser. I'm the bully that he needed to block. He felt like he needed to block. Yeah, guys. So that was my beginning and end, the origin and the end of my experience with Kick. And since then, I basically learned about Kick from Kino Casino about a year ago. And yeah, I streamed on it a few times. I was thinking of doing a kind of like podcast type of video there. I was thinking of, if I am doing a podcast, I definitely do not want to stream it on YouTube, because I'm gonna get like copyrighted for music, copyrighted for playing like other people's videos or trailers or something like that. And of course, you never know what I may or may not say, or maybe even quote somebody saying something else, you know, and get like a community strike for nothing, for referring to somebody, not even like calling somebody something, right? As in, you are, you know, bleep bleep. No, I am just talking about, say, a hypothetical person, and I call that person some kind of what today is considered a slur. Yesterday it wasn't, tomorrow it will not, but today it is, right? And boom, I get banned for it forever. Like, I don't want to be dealing with that kind of stuff, right? Like, it already took me over 10 years, I think, to get my channel to 100 subscribers. Like, I don't want to start with 0 again. So I decided that, yeah, it will be Kick probably, right? But it took me a little while to realize that basically what Kick did as a platform, in order to get the numbers for the advertisers and stuff like that, although they technically don't even need advertisers, really. But in order to get the numbers to make themselves seem like a real platform, basically what they did, they bought other streamers. Like, they bought XQC, they bought that dude with the Russian name who's like a PDF hunter or whatever the fuck, like that fucking cringy dude. Like, I watched at one point like 10 minutes of his stream. What he's like, Vitaly or Valery, something like that. I don't know. It's either one or the other, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, and like, who the hell watches this, guys? This is like a literal brain rot. So, okay, 2 things I should say. First, I do not, doesn't matter, Kick or not, wherever the hell those people came from, I do not believe for a second that there's like 100,000 people watching Dr. Disrespect on Rumble, okay? I do not believe that. I do not believe that like 50K watch XQC on Kick. I don't understand. Have you any idea how 50 100,000 people. How many people that is? Like, have you any idea how many people there is? Can you, like, honestly imagine that, like, somebody does that? I can buy, I don't know, maybe 1,000 people worldwide for some reason, because American politics are so interesting to people outside of America. You know, I can understand that maybe 1,000 people watch like Nick Fuentes, okay? I may believe that. Although, again, his content is so niche, I would be surprised if at least like half of that is not botted, okay? But, okay, like, true, whatever. But I do not believe for a second that somebody actually sits down. Yeah, okay, cool. I sat down, all right. Sits down, clicks on Dr. Disrespect stream, and watches him die repeatedly in Warzone for 8 hours straight. I do not believe it. Like, honestly. And I know that he had approximately the same numbers on Twitch, that he had approximately same numbers on YouTube, yada yada, I know. I think that wherever those numbers started to originate, they were fake all along, starting from that point. Again, Asmongold. I understand that Asmongold has some viral clips on like TikTok and Instagram or whatever, YouTube Shorts. I get it. Some viral clips, I understand that. I know myself how to make a viral clip. You make a clip, and then you go to YouTube Creator Studio into promotions, and you make a promotion for that clip. So that clip actually kind of like here in my garage, you know, interrupts other shorts and other videos. And you put a couple $1,000 into it, and I will promise you, because I've done it, I know how it works. For a couple of $1,000 in that promotion thing, you can get millions of views. You get thousands. I still get thousands sometimes when I have $5 to spare. I get thousands of $5 over the course of like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Now imagine how many views you can get if you have literal thousands. No need to go to China for their like bot factories. You can literally just buy views through paying your way into the algorithm with YouTube. That's it. That's how it works. But I don't understand. You do need to go to China, I assume, if you want like 100K people watch your Warzone stream. Because I do not believe for a second there's 100,000 people watch, what's his name? Summit 1G, something like that, I think. That's the dude, right? Like he's wearing like a hat all the time. Like really, that many people? First of all, I do understand if like a couple people from Russia like might be watching his Counter-Strike games, all right? I get it. But like English-speaking audience, Counter-Strike isn't even all that big in America as it is in like Western Europe. In Western Europe, most people don't speak English. They have their own Counter-Strike streamers. So who the fuck watches those Counter-Strike streamers or like legacy Counter-Strike streamers, whatever? You're literally telling me in the country where CS isn't even all that popular, there is that big an audience for it. I do not believe it. I do not believe those people are as popular, even remotely as popular as they seem to be, especially if the numbers we are seeing on either Kick or Rumble. Because all of that shit is botted to all hell. Rumble itself, I think everyone who's partnered on Rumble like paints a few more zeros at the end of their viewer counts by themselves. They don't even tell the creators that they do it. Kick, guys, on Kick, something you cannot do on YouTube and something you cannot do on Twitch. On Kick, you just open another tab in your own browser from the same IP you are streaming, from the same computer you're streaming, and you get +1 viewer. Yep. So if you have strong enough internet, you can, and a strong enough second computer or even your main computer, you can just paint yourself a few extra, like, I don't know, 100 or so, maybe 2, how about 3 views. Especially if you have a script that does it for you, which I can fucking write. And like automatically switches the stream to the lowest quality, right? And slowly, not all at once, opens all the way to however many tabs the RAM can afford. And perhaps, maybe even closes tabs when RAM gets over, well, when the memory leak of having open stream tabs, starts overflowing. One script can handle all that. It doesn't even require all that many lines. You can probably buy that script for $100 from some kind of people on the internet. I'm pretty sure. Or you can pay me $100, I'll do it for you. Or you can just learn how to do it yourself in about 2 hours. So yeah. So basically what Kik did, he took all of those pretend celebrities, like XQC, Valery Vitali, whatever the fuck, even Kino Casino. Apparently, Kino Casino have been sitting, like, I don't know what numbers they do right now, but up until like half a year ago, they've been sitting on like 2,000 viewers for over a year. They were just 2,000 viewers. No less, no more. I don't know, sounds like maybe that's the cap of like Worski's computer. It just it sounds like some kind of cap of someone's computer, either PPPs or Worski's or whatever kind of like farm that supports them somewhere. Because another thing is that if Worski treats his fans and followers and whatnot the same way he ended up treating me, because if he treats his like business partners essentially this way, I can only imagine how he treats like PPP and other people. PPP, from what I heard, is a rarest asshole on the planet, which I do believe if that's the case. So maybe like PPP and Worski both kind of like mutually abusive, so that doesn't really create anything. It doesn't create any trauma in between them. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if they were a bit of a like trauma bonded couple. Just like simply judged by like the kind of people they are, judging by how they treat others. So what I assume is because Kino Casino have been literally playing the same note for over 2 years, and because of how they treat their own, I assume whoever they gain into their audience, they probably lose them quite at the same speed. So that could be the explanation of why they've been sitting at 2,000 since forever. In terms of donations and stuff like that, something they criticize Ralph for all the time. It can be faked, can be totally faked, right? Let's not forget that. But like the numbers, the viewing numbers are weird for Kino Casino. They're just weird. Yeah, guys, I basically what I discovered is that discoverability, even compared to like modern Twitch, which Twitch is basically the worst website on the internet, I still believe that. I think there is more discoverability on Twitch than there is on Kik, because on Kik there is none. The only audience on Kik, like for real, are the people who were brought over to Kik as part of the audience of some other streamer Kik as a platform bought. Meaning, Kino Casino people watch Kik. Well, they don't watch anyone else on Kik. XQC people watch XQC on Kik. Well, they don't watch anyone else on Kik. Those people who are big enough to the point where they don't necessarily need a platform, they just need like a hosting for their stream. Well, those people obviously have audience, but that audience does not bleed into the rest of the website because of how that audience was acquired, right? Because that's what Kik did as a website, as a company. They acquire all that content basically just for their audience, the same way that happens in music these days, right? Like you don't get signed to a label for your talent, you get signed for already being successful, right? Because if you're not successful, if you already don't have a huge audience, well, that means that what you're doing is shit probably, all right? So like the only merit you can be judged on is the amount of success. Well, yeah, bitch, but you are the label. You are one of the gatekeepers of success. So you need to fucking not hunt for success. You need to hunt for talent and create success. You fucking bitches. And no, that's not what they do. They look for your numbers. And if you have the numbers, that tells them, oh, this dude must be quality. There's something in it for us. When labels need to be asking the question, okay, this dude has talent. There's something in it out of which we can mold something for us. And Kick basically did the same thing. Kick just bought all these streamers basically just for their audience. And it doesn't grow its own talent. It doesn't promote its own talent. So what happens is that the website is being ran by all those giant monstrosities of content creators who are just allowed into that ecosystem, and they completely run it now. What Kick should have done, they should have signed somebody like Dr. Disrespect, right? And then look for other people in the similar kind of like category of style and the genre of video games. Like, okay, now we need to grow our own fucking Dr. Disrespect. Like, who can we what's the wrestling term for it? Like to like put someone over or something like that. We need to like take somebody and put them on top of the pile, right? We need to promote somebody on the front page, yada yada, stuff like that. Homegrown talent. Kick doesn't do it. Twitch used to do it. That's how everyone who's big, you know, on Twitch right now, that's how they were created. What are you looking at? It's the same thing with Asmongold. I don't think I finished my thoughts on Asmongold, but I do believe in his quote-unquote real popularity. Like, those numbers are real. Like, the numbers he gets, like, on his, like, viral clips or viral reactions or whatever. But how many people are supposedly actually watch him live, like, every day, pretty much? What, tens of thousands? Like 50, 60, something like that? 1,000 people? Funny how almost all big streamers kind of cap around somewhere like that. Isn't it funny how all of them cap around 30, 40, 50, something like that? Isn't it funny? It's almost like some kind of service that could be servicing them all. Maybe some kind of farm of some kind of servers. Maybe that's like the limit for it. Don't you think? There, you see, my American neighbors agree with me. Yeah. It's one of those days, dude. I am just waiting for that stray bullet to go right into my skull. I am waiting for that stray, dude. I'm waiting for it inside the house, waiting for it outside the house. Yeah, guys, guns are fucking awesome. Yeah, but how many people realistically watch, like 50? Are you telling me 50,000 people every day watch Asmongold sit on his ass for 8 hours, eat Wendy's, and like watch Kitchen Nightmares? Not 50,000. Not every day. Even if they were, guys, by now, numbers would have been different, okay? Because those people, like Pokimane and Moist Critical, Charlie, Asmongold, whoever the fuck else, including some of the fresh talent that joined, actually, this pantheon of poggers, right? Pogger community. And those fresh guys also kept at like around 40, like 30, 40, 20. Like, nobody goes 100,000. Nobody goes half a fucking million, except for Nick Rekieta, apparently. Nick Rekieta is the only one who ever got bigger, right? Everyone else, especially in gaming or in reaction, like just chatting IRL type of thing, everyone levels out at around like 30, 40, 50. No one goes over that. So, weird, strange, fake, and I do not believe people actually watch those people. But anyway, if you try streaming on Kick, you will find even less of a bleed over of viewers between kind of like accounts of similar activity. Just fucking genius. Absolutely fucking genius. Could you not have done that maybe earlier in the day? Fucking moron. Oh, well, anyway. Would I be interested in something like that? Would I be interested in like daily content creation? Definitely not, but I did have ideas. So I appreciate like whatever audience I can get. Like, dudes, guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you. But I do need to like fucking settle down in my life first before I can do anything even remotely kind of like on schedule. Because I need money to put into promotion so that I can actually grow. And I need... Oh, he turned a different direction now. He was literally like shooting in my direction until now. Now the fucker is shooting like away from me. At least it doesn't fucking sound as loud. So anyway, because I don't have anything to put into promoting myself, because I do not have any Maddox to my Dick Masterson, you know, to suck audience off of, you know, into my thing, because I don't have any kind of conduit, yeah, like what Dick Masterson found in Maddox. I am Team Maddox, by the way, all the way. Like, niche as he is, Maddox is an actually creative and talented dude. Dick Masterson is just a fucking loser. But if I was in his position, I probably would have done the same. I just wouldn't have been a backstabbing snake, you know. But the general idea is that, yeah, I don't have any conduit into to like siphon audience off of. That's a weird analogy. Okay, forget the conduit thing. I don't have anyone or anything to siphon audience off of. I don't have any money to put into promoting my own stuff in order to basically buy myself discoverability and exposure. And if I were to be doing something seriously, like, I would need those things, because there's only so many hours, you know, you can be sitting in the row talking to yourself in front of your computer. And until either somebody finally partners up with me who isn't afraid of me, because I know a lot of people are afraid, for what I bring to the table. There's a lot of Jedi Force behind everything I do, including things like having opinions, for example. I do understand that it's intimidating, and it's not something necessarily that people want to give their microphone, for, because they realize, oh shit, that dude is gonna out charisma me, he's gonna out opinion me, So I get it. Until anyone either feels like working with me, or until I manage to monetize any of my shenanigans, so that I can actually pay, kind of like for success of my other shenanigans. I just, I don't see myself sitting down and doing anything like serious. Because doing something serious, doing something quality is not something that brings success. It's other things in life that bring audience to you, that bring success to you. It's not merit, it's not quality. I can write the best like dark ambient soundtrack right now for something. Not soundtrack, album, LP. The best dark ambient LP coming out like literally ever, right? Coming out tonight, made by me. Guys, because I'm not on any of the dark ambient labels, no one will ever discover it. And those people who will, they're gonna be like, well, that's not from Cryo Chamber, so it's probably just kind of like... I mean, it sounds exactly like Cryo Chamber, but like this dude is not technically a professional dark ambient artist, so I don't like it all that much, right? Like he doesn't have like academic, performance artist, like art school credentials. So like his stuff isn't really as good as somebody with academic credentials as a performance artist. The quality doesn't matter. What matters is who is selling your shit and how much money is behind, marketing of your shit. Because people, people who claim to watch Asmongold or Moist Critical or Pokimane or whatever, they don't watch them for the quality of their content. Like anyone can do that. Anyone can do and do what they do. But somehow some people have like 50,000 people allegedly watching them. Others have 5. Not 1,000, just 5 viewers watching them. Why? Well, because quality is not the factor here at all. And until I can correct for those other factors that actually matter, I'm not gonna bother with doing like anything serious. If my 9 to 5 actually fucking paid me something, anything would be nice. I am relatively okay, actually, all things considered, at time management. Like when I was in Japan, for example, studying Japanese for about 9, 10, something like that, hours a day, right? Over those 2 years, I managed to simultaneously do quite a bit of music during those 2 years. I managed to stay up to date with video gaming and stuff like that. I played quite a few video games during those 2 years. And I even did a little bit of game development myself, while, juggling being like an overtime student. So, guys, if I'm actually in the position where kind of like my life side of life is actually taken care of, and when I was a student, I actually had the money to be the student. I did not necessarily worry about what I'm going to eat tomorrow, right? And whether next month I still have a roof over my head. I was living off quite a, by my own standards, like once in a lifetime kind of like cushion. Basically from the hit signature success. And stupid idiot that I was, I assumed that, well, now I'm a professional composer, so similarly paying kinds of jobs are just gonna keep coming from now on, right? Yeah, that was good fucking thinking. But anyway, so since basically despite being busy for like 10 or even over 10, right, hours a day, I was still being able to, figure stuff out, how to stay relatively productive. I mean, Obviously, not all that productive if you really think about it, because you like lose 10 hours every day. But I managed to, right, somehow. So if my 9 to 5 actually paid me something, I would be wasting approximately similar amount of time on it, and I could probably make something of myself as a streamer. You know, I could make something of myself as a video game developer, and I would have the monies to support myself as either musician or like a part-time musician, part-time game dev, or, you know, promote my whatever podcasts or streams, if I was if I were to choose, you know, if I were to choose to do that part-time. Yeah, but until something happens, like I said in my recent email blast, Maddox blast, my creative stuff basically is on hold, except for some of the musical stuff, but that's very, very part-time also. I am actively, yes, working on new material, but it depends on what you mean by actively. My normal actively means I'm working 24/7. Well, I'm not. All right, but by standards of others, honestly, might as well say I'm actively working on it. Yeah, but by my own, yeah, I'm taking it slow, because there's honestly nothing to kind of like hurry towards. What? Another silent release? Another no attention from anyone at all? Like, yeah, you know, I already have in my head what I would like to make. You know, if I were to make something that no one is going to hear, how is that different from just not making it in the first place and just enjoying what I have in my head? So there's nothing to hurry towards, really. I am trying to find some kind of label who can introduce their audience to me, maybe, right? But if no one says yes, then I will still be a creative, okay? I will still be an artist. An artist, an auteur, you know, of my own making. But yeah, I don't know what kind of output can be expected from me, honestly. Especially if something certain in my life relatively soon goes terribly, horribly wrong, and I will be uprooted, so to speak, again. And if it does happen, I have honestly no fucking idea when I will even be able to like record something like this the next time. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that was almost an hour and a half long response. That's not even a reply as much as it's just like a response, really a reaction to that message. The never give up, never get up type of message by an anonymous OG member of me audience. Thank you so very much. I am trying to do stuff. And I wish I was more of a broadcaster. I wish I was more of a kind of like, I wish I had more of a platform, right? Where I could like, through which I could talk to people, reach people, right? And stuff like that. And obviously one of the things that like one needs to be doing, right, in order to have a platform is like you actually need to be producing some kind of like podcast or like a YouTube type of, have like a weekly or monthly at least, right, like some kind of YouTube presence. But I am I've tried that multiple times, and I have discovered that like organically growing is just impossible these days. And I'm not going to prioritize just just hustle. I'm not going to prioritize it, because it's not about hustle. It's about how much money you put into the promotion tab of your YouTube creator studio. But hey, for what it's worth, right? I'm still here. I'm still talking, and I intend to be live again one day. Maybe even from my desk. I just cannot make any promises, especially until like midsummer. Okay. Because again, there's a certain personal thing that's happening. There's a big call it whatever business trip I need to make to certain important places that will decide my fate. For most of my foreseeable future, really. It's not an actual business trip. It's more of a visit. And it's not a trip. But anyway, we'll see. It is weirdly connected to the whole problem of, getting a 9 to 5 that actually pays. Getting a life. Get a job, get a life. Yeah, fucking you get a job. How about that? Oh, you cannot? Yeah, how about you quit your job and then you try to get another one? Huh? Well, try it. And then come back to me and tell me your story. Of how you're 55 years old, you got fired 3 years ago or 6 years ago and you've been unemployed since then. Come on. Well, you don't want to do that, huh? Well, then hold to your job, boomer, okay? And sit quietly. You don't get to have an opinion on what my generation is going through right now. Fuck off. And on that note, I bid you farewell. It's getting rather late. Bye-bye. I didn't get to talk about that video game again. That video game is Mad Max 2015, by the way. I do have about 15 minutes tops of things to say about it, but I'm not going to do it now. I think I summarized my thoughts on it at the end of the last stream anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's an acceptable slop, okay? But it most definitely is a slop, and I'm confused why people suddenly started to remember that game and calling it a masterpiece. It's very, very strange. It's almost like some kind of call was made. It's almost like maybe a new Mad Max game is being in the works, right? And calls are being made. Okay, bye-bye.